All right, so we're going to go over using a function in Python called the raw input function. So it's actually a really useful function they're going to be using a ton as you continue to learn different types of code. So the way that we use the raw input function and the purpose of the raw input function is to basically just get user input. So if you want to have the user input like what their favorite color is, or input a certain set of numbers for data points, any of that would be something that you would use the raw input function for. And it's based on a certain prompt. So you're going to give the user a prompt saying enter a certain data set, and then they're going to type in their data that you requested them to enter. All right, so the syntax for this is very simple. It's raw input with an underscore in between the raw and the input, and then in parentheses goes the prompt that you're going to ask the user. So this prompt could be enter your favorite color, and then the user would enter their favorite color. Most likely you're going to be storing this in a variable, but you could be, using this within another function or using it within another line of code. It doesn't always have to be something that's stored in a variable, but that's most likely going to be one of the more common uses that you have for it. All right, so if we look at a couple of examples here, let's say we wanted to ask the user what their favorite color is, and we were going to store that in a variable called color. So we would set the variable color equal to the raw input from the prompt that we're going to give them. So in this case, and remember with strings, you may have noticed in the prompt, the syntax example that I gave here, the prompt is going to be included in either single or double quotes because this is going to be string input. So that's actually an important thing to note here, is that always from the raw input function, what you're going to get out of it is string variable input. All right, so if we were to, again, look at this color example, we could say the variable color, set it equal to the raw input from what is your favorite color. And we want to close our quotes and close our parentheses, and we could run this. And if we look in the output here, we get a message saying, what is our favorite color? The user is going to input their favorite color, maybe it's green, and we haven't done anything else with this program, so it would end here. But if we want to see kind of how this works, we could say print the variable color, and the variable color, if we think about it, now should have stored what the user put in as the response to this prompt using the raw input function. So if we were to print the color variable here, you may have also noticed, and we could run this again, the format of this isn't so great, right? We have what is your favorite color, and then the color, green, goes right afterwards, and this whole like little bit in here with the question mark right next to the green, it doesn't really look too good, right? So we could continue with this, and you'll see that print color, which we did in the second line here, it prints the user's favorite color as was indicated by their response to the raw input function. Right. So what we could do to clean this up a little bit would be to put a space here, and then or maybe a set of arrows like this that would indicate to the user that they're going to type in their response there. Again, if we run this, what is your favorite color? The little arrows indicating this is where they're going to type it. We could again put green, and because we have print color down here, green will be the data that's stored in that variable. So it's very important to know here, though, this is always going to be a string. So we have a string output here with green, right? That's a string variable because it's all just text. If we were to try and, let's say we were to say, what is your favorite number? And then the color variable wouldn't make sense here. We could put number, print number as well. And so that would give us their favorite number, but let's say we tried to do some math on this number. Let's say we made a new variable called total and made it equal to number divided by 4 or something like that. All right? So if we were to try and do this, what is your favorite number? We could say 7, and we have an issue here because there's a bit of an error here with the types of variables, because what we're trying to do a mathematical operation down here on a variable that isn't a numerical variable. It's not an integer or a floating point variable. It's a string variable, because that's always what we're going to get from the Python raw input function, right? So we get this type error down here saying we can't divide this string variable because it's not a number, right? So even though the user entered a number here, that number is really just a character that's going to be stored in a string variable. Okay, so if you want to use the raw input response in mathematical operations, what you have to do is convert it to a different type of variable, which we'll talk about that later, how to convert between different variable types. For now, all you need to know is that the raw input function is something that is going to give you string response from the user. And again, the syntax for this is raw input parentheses the prompt that you're going to give them, and then they will respond to that. And again, we can store this in a variable, we can do some other stuff with it, but the key to the raw input function is it's just how we're going to get user input. It's going to be so useful, and you're going to be using it all the time, so I just wanted to introduce you to that now. All right, thanks for watching this video on raw input, and I'll see you in the next one.